Hi guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I know it's been a while since I had an update on the 1400. I was quite busy with a lot of small stuff, so I had to try to get it finished. So I'll just take you around the bakkie and show you what I've done so far. So guys, as you guys can see, the wiring is actually finished. The front light is working, as well as all the tail lights and indicators and stuff is working. I still need to fit the new lens on that side. That one is a new one, this is still the old one. So I don't know if I've shown you guys the exhaust manifold in the previous videos. So the exhaust manifold is done. That's fire gum. There's a small leak on that side. You actually have to tilt the engine to get the manifold out. So I'll just turn that flange. We need to turn it around, but I'll do that after I take out the engine to paint the inside and all that stuff. So the exhaust is finished, as you guys know. In the photos that you guys have seen in the old video, you guys have noticed that the butterflies was actually sitting here. It had an aluminium bend with injectors on the top. I had problems starting the car and with erratical throttle response and all that stuff, so I had to change the intake manifold back to its standard position. It had this ram tubes on it, but the problem is it's not too high, but I still need to run a set of injectors that's spraying inside the ram tube itself for the higher RPMs. So what I'm going to do is I designed a new ram tube. I'll 3D print it. So with a bend on it, 62-degree bend, because from this side to the flat side of the ram tube is 62 degrees. So I've made a new bend, and what I'll do is I'm gonna manufacture an airbox for it, and then run a set of injectors that sprays into the front of the ram tubes. The wiring is I'm still busy, not done with it yet. I still need to be tidied up and make it nice and neat, but I need to do the second set of the injectors first before I can change this. I need to change that fuel line because I bent it like that for the previous way the injection was. So that's done. Some of you were wondering, this is only a old oil pressure gauge that I actually just using as a fuel pressure reference for now till I'm done with it. This banjo actually runs to the second set of injectors, so I needed something just to blanket off and check the fuel pressure as well. So the main reason why I want to build this intake as well is just to get this side more full, because it looks empty now and it looks ugly, and yeah, still need to trim this all off. So another thing I still want to do is, I had this blankers made. I designed them on Fusion 360, and then I send the file away, and then I waterjet this blankers for me. So what this essentially was, on the bikes itself, it had a breather on here and a breather on here. It's not actually a breather for the crankcase. It's like an EGR valve. So there was like filters and flaps in here and this side as well. Then it was connected on a pipe with a solenoid, and then it ran back into the intake. So to use some of the exhaust gases that's not burned. So what I did is, before, when I put on the head, when I rebuilt the engine, I took there's two ports on this side and two ports on that side, next to the spark plug holes. I drilled and tapped those and put some grub screws in it and sealed it off. That's not necessary to run the exhaust gas through the intake again. This is another plate that I've made and designed. So I still need to cut it and trim it and bend this edges over to get that shape. bend it down this way and that way as well. I'm going to bend it, shape it, weld it. If I'm done, finish it off nicely, and then I'm going to use it as a mold to actually make myself a carbon fiber cover that goes over those ugly coils, just to make it nice and neat. I'll show you guys on the inside quickly. I did manage to do the wirings for the original cluster, so that's done. It's working. I designed and 3D printed this surrounds just to finish it off a bit with the 2 gauges. I can actually, it looks quite wide, but I'll show you guys. I can see all the gauges nice and clearly. This is what it looks like. The radio is working. I only need to wire in some speakers still. As you guys notice, I had to cut the inner tray quite a lot. The wheels was rubbing, so I don't want to close it now. I want to drive it first and see where it catches if I turn sharp and make the changes before I actually put a piece of plate in there and seal it off. And then I need to cut it off again, just to make clearance. The center console is fitted. I welded some tabs on the firewall. It's nice and tight. This is only a small cup holder where the old gear lever was supposed to be, because the gear lever, as you guys know, sits next to me, and that's the handbrake itself. I had this back panel made, this panel, because the standard one has 3 big holes in it, as you guys know. So I made this one out of fiberglass, and then from done I'll only wrap it in carbon fiber. So some of those that think it's only a toy, it's loud, it's running. It's in first gear. Not just there for the show. I'm wiring all the indicators, dim and brights. As you guys can see, the temperature is working, the speedo is working, everything is working except the HIS, and this ref counter normally works when it gets to the ref limiter, but I haven't revved it to the limit yet. This is the lights that I'm running in. It's got an indicator inside the light. Just show you guys, if there's some of you that don't know. That's what it looks like. If you haven't seen the previous videos, that's the front discs of the motorbike. I'm still not done with the rear brakes. I'm only driving it around with the front brakes for now, because I still need to make a bigger spacer and space that disc more to the back, because I can't get the caliper in between the rim and the disc. There's not enough space, and I want to use this because it's much lighter than the drum brakes. Some of you know this is my main cutoff switch, because I couldn't use it for the fuel tank. I decided to use it for the cutoff. So this is what you guys know what it looks like in the back. I actually finished this part. The tank is fitted nicely and it's sealed off, and all the brackets are welded. I had to take out this tank unit. I had some problems with it leaking, so I made an O-ring that's sealed off nicely. I still need to maybe put a breather on the top here. It runs into this neck, because the problem I have when I fill it with fuel, I have a lot of airlocks on the cap itself, and then it takes a long time. So that's the reason I'm finishing this thing and drive it like it is for a week or so, and see what changes I need to make, and then make the changes before I actually strip it down to respray it. I still need to cut the bed. I have changed the tailgate. I know it doesn't look like it. This is the old latches. It's off. I still need to cut this off, shave it in nicely so it's nice and smooth. What I've done is, you'll notice there's a door handle, 1400 inside door handle on the tailgate itself. So this is how it works. Nice and smooth. I changed the tailgate to take, I think this is a Isuzu or something's latches. This one on that side as well. Here's the other one. So I just cut it open, manufactured some hinges and stuff on the inside to get this one working. I made this on the lathe. I didn't want to weld on tubings and stuff on here and make this part ugly. I still want to keep it looking standard. So yeah, it closes nicely, no rattles, no noises. Oh, the other thing I did, I took some heat shrink, just put it around the chain so we can reduce that clunky noise. You can hear if you close it, there's no train noise. The battery is mounted on nice and tight in the tray. I still need to change the ratios. I'm still running a 3.86 ratio on this thing, but the problem with that is I thought it's going to be too low. It's actually too high. So if there's anyone that knows of a 1400 or maybe a 1200 diff or something that's running a lower ratio than a 3.86, maybe a 3.4 around about there. Yeah, that's basically the update. Oh, I have changed the front suspension. So you guys can see I had to change it to coilovers, so it's working. So I'm going to try to explain to you guys what I did with this front suspension. This is almost the lowest that you can get this cars with the normal struts and the normal shocks. There's no way lowering it more than this with the standard stuff, even if you buy those coilover sleeves. I had this car sitting on its bump stops, the shock completely bottomed out. I had to shorten the strut, take out the shock that's inside the strut actually. I'll get a shock sample and I'll just explain to you guys what I've done. So you guys, this is almost what the standard 1400 shocks looks like, the one that's inside the strut, not the strut itself. This one goes inside the strut with the sleeve nut on the top. It actually bolts the shock down inside that thing, and this is what it looks like. So the problem I had with the standard stuff is this shock was all the way right to the bottom when it was on right height like that. So what I had to do is I actually opened the shock. So what I did is I opened the bottom end, put it in a lathe. I had to cut it open. I shortened this piece by 80 millimeters. So essentially what happens, I had to shorten the shaft as well with 80 millimeters, and this is actually just a canister piece. On the inside there's another sleeve that's got a valve body in it that's bolted. That valve body is actually bolted onto the shaft. I took the old shaft, I cut that off and actually turned the new piece. It looks the same, just 80 millimeters higher than the standard one. I made the sleeve on the inside 80 millimeters shorter as well. So then I reassembled the whole shock. What I did is this washer here at the bottom, this piece is quite thick. So what I did is when I cut it off, I drilled a hole on the middle. I tapped it and I welded it back nicely, and then I refilled it with the oil and just put a bolt on there with a copper washer and cleared out all the air, shortened the strut by 80 millimeters, and put a sleeve kit over that as well. It's actually a rear coilover kit of a Golf that I used the back side of the Golf, the back shocks, with its sleeves and the springs on this thing, because this engine is so light. If I used the standard springs, it wouldn't have worked because of the weight. So that's what I did on this front suspension. I still need to put back the sway bar. There's no sway bar inside there. I just temporarily put back all this mountings, and the wires are still loose. And so you guys, that's it for now. For those guys that followed me all this way, thank you so much. I appreciate it. If you like what you see, hit this like button. If you want to see more content like that, just hit the subscribe button as well, and the bell, so you can get notifications when I eventually load up some videos. So yeah, I'll see you guys on the next time. Keep safe, and thank you so much.